Another major issue, the right to vote in this country. Earlier today, Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, met with civil rights leaders to talk about voting rights. This comes on the heels of Joe Manchin's public announcement that he will not support an expansive voting rights bill, the For the People Act. That bill would ensure things like automatic same-day registration and limit gerrymandering in response to the wave of state GOP-sponsored bills that are aimed at limiting many voting rights. But without Joe Manchin's support, this bill is all but doomed. So joining us now to talk about this, NAACP President Derrick Johnson, who was in today's closed-door meeting with Senator Manchin. Derrick, thanks very much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So what can you tell us about what went on in there with Senator Manchin?
Well, our goal was to establish a relationship and build upon that relationship so that we can get to a solution to protect the right of voters. It was a pleasant meeting. We all left the meeting agreeing that there will be more follow-up so we can figure out the best way forward.
So Senator Manchin has said he supports a narrower measure, the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act, which would essentially restore a key provision of the Civil Rights Era Voting Rights Act that was gutted by the Supreme Court, that Section 5 of that act. Would that, in your view, be a step in the right direction? That's something that needs to be done as well?
Well, we have to address some of the state legislative actions that have taken place over the last 2 months to suppress the vote. It would not address the concerns as we see them in Georgia with that the legislation that passed and signed by the governor. It would not address several states. So it has to be an effort to make sure we prevent further suppressive legislation coming out. It would address that, but also deal with what has taken place over the last 2-3 months from state legislative bodies across the country.
And Derrick, you've heard from critics of the For the People Act that it would federalize voting rights, that some states like same-day registration, some states don't like same-day registration, that kind of thing. Why do you think this is necessary to accomplish at the federal level?
Well, first of all, federal elections are already federalized. What we want to make sure is that access to voting, which is a constitutional right, is normalized, depoliticized across the country so people can freely participate. We can no longer send troops abroad fighting for a democracy that we're not willing to extend to all citizens in this country. Policymakers, elected officials should not be allowed to select their voters because it's the responsibility of voters to select those individuals who are elected.
So as you left the meeting with Senator Manchin, do you have any reason to feel more hopeful about the fate of the For the People Act? What do you think?
Well, I'm encouraged that we could land on a solution. There may be a vehicle that's currently in existence or maybe a new vehicle, but the commitment is to begin the process to ensure we protect the right of citizens to vote. Legitimate voters should be able to participate free from vote suppression method. And Senator Manchin, when he was the Secretary of State, he did that. He expanded access to voting, and we're already asking him to work with the community, identify other senators so we can do the same for the American people.
But he's a Democrat, of course. So what do you say to his argument that this kind of legislation needs to be bipartisan, given what we're seeing out of the Republican Party from top to bottom?
Well, we're nonpartisan, and we've had the same posture when it was Southern Democrats we had to fight against as we are fighting against others who are trying to subvert democracy by denying access to voting. And so just because an individual or individuals who are part of a political party disagree with protecting our Constitution doesn't make it partisan. It brings question of whether or not do they truly support the Constitution. This is not 1940. Everyone will not come forward, but we need the majority of the members of Congress to step up and protect our democracy by allowing every citizen access to voting free from vote suppression and other methods to deter voters from participating.
And as you point out, the NAACP has been there on the front lines in so many of these battles going back a century. Derrick Johnson, head of the NAACP, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.